Hello, book lovers! Welcome to the 84th episode of Kiwi and the Bird, Book Nerds in Session.
I'm Taylor the Bird, and I am ready to talk about... What am I ready to talk about? The nights are getting colder. The days are getting darker.
I think what's funny is that last time you talked about daylight savings.
And it's really wearing down on me. I feel it a lot more now. Last time we laughed, but this time it's hidden.
It's pretty bad.
But what about you?
I'm Keimi, and I'm ready to talk about my week and how it directly correlates to this story.
This has been a mystery.
Yeah.
This has been foreshadowed to me via text for like 4 hours. So I'm equally as curious as you are to see what Keimi has to say.
Yes.
And in this episode, we are discussing Aster's Lightlark in full detail.
So a spoiler alert is warranted. I will go into impassioned details. So forewarned.
Keimi, would you like to give us a spoiler alert sound effect?
Yeah. Since this story takes place in nature, I thought I would do a little bird.
Every story takes place in nature. It's the world is nature.
What about the room?
Is it called The Room? Oh.
It's okay. I'll tell you about it later.
Oh.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
How did I do it? Oh my gosh. No, wait. No.
You were like,
Did I have more moisture in my mouth? Oh, there we go.
oh, that was majestic.
Thank you.
Rainforest Cafe is going to call you in a second.
Yeah, it's me.
Now, before we get to the episode, if you like Kiwi and the Bird and you want to support us, thank you. Very nice of you. We do have a Patreon and a Venmo, which is at Kiwi and the Bird. Thank you for helping us live the book nerd dream.
With money. Now, on to the discussion.
With wealth.
Okay, Tay. I need to start with something I didn't like.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, you guys. I know we usually start positive, but I need to start with something I didn't like. So the week I've been having, here's what you have to understand. I have not been sleeping very well. I was averaging about 3 hours of sleep a night.
It was a daylight savings?
I don't know. It could be stress. It could be too much blue light.
Oh,
It could be, I don't know. I have not been sleeping well. And so throughout this week, I was like, okay, I've been a little bit busier. I need to manage my time well. And I had to buy this book because I forgot that I had turned it in. It was a whole thing.
Ooh, sorry, little context here. Keimi doesn't usually buy a book unless she really loves it and wants to put it on her shelf. So
Yes.
A preemptive buy without reading the book is not the norm.
No, it is not. So, one, I bought the book. Okay? I received it I think it was Wednesday. We had originally planned to go to record on a Thursday. Tay had to reschedule, which was totally fine. It gave me more time. So I was like, oh, okay, so I don't have to read it in one sitting. I'm good. Except for I tried to start to read this book on Thursday. I got about 40 pages in. I had no idea what was happening. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe this is just me. Maybe I just have not been sleeping well and my mind is just not in it. I can't focus. So I put it down. I went to sleep. I work in the evenings on Fridays. So I woke up and I was like, okay, maybe I can I didn't sleep super well, but maybe this'll be it. I'm maybe 60 pages in. I still don't understand what's happening. I was like, okay, you know what? Again, I have not been at my best mentally. I'm going to put this to the side because it's later than I think it is, and I think I'm going to be late for work.
Which, real fast, acts of maturity here.
Yes. Yes. You don't understand. Whenever we record these, I always procrastinate. I always read the book in one sitting right before we record. All the time. So this time I tried to manage my time better. I wake up this morning at 8 a.m. Okay, 8 a.m. Be like, okay, this book is only about 400-ish pages?
Yeah, probably 450.
I think it's actually like 400.
What the freak?
Yeah. So it's about 400 pages. I think, okay, I can get through that in 4 to 6 hours. It shouldn't be too bad. And then I'll have some more time to maybe do other things that I've been kind of slacking on this week. from 8 a.m., it took me from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to read this book. Granted, I did take a couple of breaks to eat. But throughout the rest of that time, I was literally reading this book. It took me that long. And I'm a pretty fast reader. It doesn't take me that long. But the number one thing that confused me, I was like, what? She's a wilding? Because in the prologue, we kind of like get a sense of like why the Centennial is happening. Great. Fine. I got that. The first chapter with Isla, she's using a star stick. And so in the beginning of the book, there's also like a list of like powers and curses. And so I read.
You keep talking. I'll do some.
It's right here.
Bro.
And so I read that beforehand just so I can get like, oh, you don't have it.
I didn't have the guides. What is this?
I read this guide. Okay, I read the guide just so I could have maybe more of an idea, because in these kinds of stories, sometimes a lot's thrown at you, and I like to know where I am. She starts with a star stick, so I think, oh, she's probably a starling. So that's probably what she is. And so I go a little bit through it, and I go, wait, what? Wilding? And I'm completely thrown off. And I'm like, okay, but maybe, but no, I couldn't get out of that. So that's when I had to restart.
Okay.
And then I get a little bit more in, and then she's already in the competition all of a sudden. And then some guy is there, and he's being creepy, and he's kind of sexually harassing her. And I went, oh my gosh, he's going to be a love interest, and I'm going to hate him the entire time. And it was like that the whole time I read the book, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So all of these things, oh my gosh, no, I need to get this off my chest.
No, you go. I literally feel it. It's in the air.
What is Isla's motivations? Okay, she keeps going back and forth and trusting people. And she keeps going like, no, but I love them. Oh, but they betrayed me. Oh, but they did this one thing, so I'll love them again. She just kept going back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, do you want to save your people? Do you want to save Celeste? Or do you just want to have sex with this guy? Which one is it? 2, how does the line of succession work in this story? Like, from my understanding, actually, spoiler alert right now, there's 5 immortals.
Yes.
Why isn't the wilding an immortal? And how does that line of succession work?
Are you only immortal if you have power?
Well, that's the thing. Shouldn't her mother have been?
But her mother was killed. You can still be killed, but still be immortal.
Yeah, but they also talk about Violet Crown, who was the wilding person. Mm-hmm. They also talk about Lark. Right? So I'm like, how does the line of succession work? I was also super confused with how starlings worked. Like, how does the line of succession work with starlings? Because if they all die at 25, and if they don't have a child because they have to be in the Centennial, then how the frick does the line of succession? Like, if they die, does the power just get automatically? I had a question of that the entire time.
Well, or even how does that society just have children in general? You'd have to be having children at a really young age, and by the time you die, your kids would still be really young. And
also, how do the rulers rule? Like, we hear almost nothing about how they actually have policies for their lands and like all those things. Like, how does trade happen? How does economy happen? We have none of that. When we meet Oro, okay, apparently he has the power of 4 people. He has Sunling, he has Starling, he has Moonling, and he has, what's the other one?
My book didn't come with a guide.
He had Moonling, Starling, Sunling, and Starling.
Oh, yes.
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 He had all of those, and yet he only had the curse of the Sunling. Why did he have the rest of those powers? It said, oh, he just has these powers and he doesn't have any curses. And something about him being an origin. What the f*** is an origin?
I think it was just that he was either a part or alive when the curses were started.
Okay, so why is he the only one? Is it the freaking bond maker? Does that mean his brother had all of those powers? Does that mean whoever had it before him had all of those powers? That made 0 sense to me. 2. With the bond breaker.
Yes.
What is this ancient text that they that they sourced it from. Like, why was, like, how was there so much trust from Isla's side and being like, oh yeah, this is a thing, and then it wasn't a thing, and then it was a thing again. I was like, are you literally just trusting the word of mouth from a friend? You can't, no, like, where's your source? That was my question for most of it. I was like, where is your source?
Why are you believing it?
Yes. My third thing. She was looking for the relic in the libraries. My question is, so you can just get information whenever you want. And the location of libraries, Celeste just knows all of this.
Oh, I see, yes.
Right, and yes, that's explained at the end. But as the reader, we don't get that till the very end. So the entire time, I'm just thinking, how the frick are you getting all this information? And even so, once she gets to the library, she's supposed to be stealth mode, but she's not. And she sees all these relics, and she does nothing with them. I'm like,
why not explore it?
Why not?
That could be helpful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it said that she comes into it with the plan, and I'm like, what plan?
We don't know anything about the plan.
And she has 0 backup plans. I'm like, you're telling me you've been training for this your entire life. We assume you're about, 18 years old? So for 18 years, you've been planning for this, and you don't have a backup plan?
That's why they say ABC. Have an A plan, a B plan, and a C plan.
Oh my gosh. And
they don't say that. That was just kind of something I just made up. But
I'm sorry. You
gotta go. You gotta go. The engine is thrumming, and it's gotta go.
The descriptions were so half-hearted to me. I had no idea what people looked like. I had no idea what places looked like. I was like, where are we? Who are you? Like, the only person I actually have, there are 2 people I have a really good image of. Oro and Azul.
Yeah.
Only 2 people. Like, yeah, Isla, like, she has dark hair and she has beautiful green eyes.
Well, people cool.
I had more descriptions of her dress and how revealing they were than I had of anything else. And that pissed me off. I was like, my God, give me something more. And she was just like, I needed her flaws to humanize her. Right? I was like, you're impulsive. Give me a reason why she's impulsive. Give me a reason to justify that. You know, she's not entirely sure why she wants to save her people. Give me a reason why. Being that, maybe she's sheltered and she's never seen the people she's supposed to protect.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But no, we're never given any reason. And her motivations just fly off the handle like that. And I'm like, okay, I understand your memory was wiped by Grimm. And yeah, you guys had a history because you traveled to his lands, blah, 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 blah. He was so sexually harassing. He was. I'm sorry. He just comes straight out the gate and he's like, yeah, I want to take your clothes off. No. Okay, you might have the memories. She does not. He just came off as so creepy. And it was just so quick from her side, too.
It was pretty quick, yeah.
And I was like, even with your memories wiped, okay, in your mind, you have been sheltered your entire life and you're that quick to trust.
Good point. Especially with everything she's been warned about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now in my head too, I was like, so these 2 people who have trained you your whole life, who you claim to love, being a huge word there. They've come up with a plan. Her guardians, yes. Tara and Poppy, who we barely see and we barely have any emotional connection to. You're telling me they came up with a plan for you. You completely ignore it. Go with the person that, yes, you've built a relationship with for years. And yet both fail. Actually, no, not both fail. The first one would have worked.
Your guardians weren't far off there.
Okay, my question is, why didn't she try that one first? And if that one failed, why not go with her and Celeste's plan? Why not have multiple plans?
I think it's because I think in essence is that she felt her motivations didn't align with her guardian's plans. She didn't necessarily want the king's power to seduce him. It's like she wanted her own power in her own right by doing it her own way, by separating herself and Celeste from the rest of the kingdoms by breaking their personal curses.
Okay, but you don't have any power, so the way to get power is to get power. Do you understand what
I want everyone to know this. Get power by getting power.
Like, in my head, it's getting power at whatever cost. And if you seduce the king, according to the law of the land, is if you fall in love with someone, you get access to their powers. What?
Which I felt like wasn't kind of established until the end.
It was not.
Yeah.
Or at least the middle or something. And I was like, what the? No. Don't get me started on that one. In my head, I go, if he loves you, if you make him, you get access to his powers. Okay? Is that not gaining power?
Oh, I see. Yes, yes.
And not only some power, it's a lot of power.
But it's only if you love them.
I thought it was only if they love you.
Because at the end, when she's falling,
then
she had to choose.
She could have tried. Okay, and if that wasn't working, you can have, what is it? A backup plan. Oh my gosh. I was so upset. Also, okay, explain to me this. The centennial happens every 100 years.
Yes.
You have immortal rulers,
Yes.
right? That have been through it, that have seen the curses, that are basically there when it happened. You're telling me that they all heard the prophecy of how all 6 have to go, and yet one of them's missing for 4 of them? No, not even that. 2 of them were missing for the last one.
Well, and also the one who was missing is a part of the 3 who created it.
And they know that.
True.
What? Yeah, of course it's not gonna work because one of you is missing. Also, how is this a competition if you're supposed to work together?
That was one of my main questions. Is that I was like, what's this incentive to not work together? You can only break the curse together. Like that's the kind of the whole spiel thing.
Like it could have been a thing where like it's a facade. Like we're all working together, but we all know that one realm has to die. And in essence, I think that's what she tried to portray.
Well, because it then needed to be more teamwork.
Yes. Also, why are there just random balls?
Because it's a good time.
You know what? The balls were just there so she could wear another revealing dress, and both of the male love angels could be like, oh my goodness, look at her in that dress.
But it gets me every time.
Okay, that's pretty good. You mentioned that you hated the way information was relayed. I did too. Oh my goodness.
So unfolded. I did too.
Like I had a question and then it was answered like 50 pages later. But then I had like 5 more questions. And so I was just like question upon question upon question. Sometimes an answer. Oh, but that just made more questions. What? Also, we didn't get nearly enough of the other rulers. I was like, Azul's really cool.
Yeah.
The only thing that interested me was like, oh, what? A democracy? Interesting. How does that work? Because like all of them are basically the same, where it's just like, oh, a ruler, oh, powers, or curses. Like, no, show me what's different.
Show how they're not like other kingdoms.
Exactly. Okay, that's the end of my rant for now. Please go.
You weren't kidding about the passion. I felt it. It was powerful. It was sexy. It was emboldened. It was hot.
It's also the fact that it took me 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 hours. It took me 10 hours to read this book.
Oh.
I was so confused.
At the beginning, again, I know that I'm not the best reader. Like sometimes I kind of miss important details. And so with the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm not fully understanding this, but I'm going to stick it out. You know, maybe there's something that will finally click. That has happened in a few different episodes where I was like, oh. But yeah, I think the competition was hard for me to outline in my head. Because at first I was like, okay, she's competing against other rulers. One of them has to die. So I'm like, high stakes, probably like fighting, very Hunger Games-ish. But then it's like, okay, for the first, 25, 50 days, it's demonstrations. But the demonstrations didn't feel important to what the goal was of the competition, which is finding a way to break the curses. That's like the main motive of the competition is to get these rulers together to find a solution. And so then the demonstrations, I felt like what I initially thought the competition to be, those higher stakes, the demonstrations then kind of like lost that pacing to me a little bit in my understanding of what it was.
Yeah.
Of like kind of being a super fast paced, kind of like bloody, again, super Hunger Games-y competition. It then kind of turned into, okay, no, this is more like showmanship. And then I was like, why does Isla think that everyone's gonna kill her? I'm like, because when the king, and I will say, very shocking that the king revealed that she was powerless.
Oh, yeah, you know that part. I was like, oh, betrayal, get her.
Like, yeah, it was very shocking. It was very unexpected. I liked that because I didn't see it coming. And so I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, emotions. I feel it. Like, I had the recoil. I was like, betrayal.
I know.
And so, and she was like, everyone's going to kill me now. Everyone's going to kill me now. I'm like, but he kind of gave you the greatest gift that no one would have any interest to kill you because you're powerless. Like, you're not in their eyes threatening anymore. They're going to underestimate you. You know, certain, okay. I'm going in a lot of different directions here. I got to recenter myself.
No, I'm sorry. I think I said that. I set that precedent.
No. So initially the competition was hard because, again, that was kind of like a death game. Then it's more like they actually need to work together. I think that's probably the part that threw me the most, was that they actually, it's not about like teaming up and trying to kill the other players, you know, like Katniss and Peeta at the end of the Hunger Games. It's more so like, oh, we all need to try to solve this one thing. So why does it need to be a competition at all? Why isn't it that it's that final stake of which realm is going to be chosen to die by the others at the end? And how can you position your realm to not be one of those? How can you prove yourself and your people to be not expendable? Invaluable. Like, and I thought that would have been a really interesting point to take, is it's not even about really saving your realm, even though that's a factor. It's about proving how your realm isn't the one that can die. Mm-hmm. Like, you're indispensable. That was the word I was looking for. I felt like that would have been a little bit more of a dynamic point to push in the competition, rather than having it kind of be like showmanship and then allies and like people partnering off, when it seemed like it would need a collective effort for there to actually be success. Yeah. And then it was a little hard then too to know that then the competition was supposed to be collaborative, but then at the end, with the heart and everything, it was only 4 key players that actually did it and not the entire group. Like, the entire group wasn't even present to see what had even happened when it's something that affects all of them. So then it's kind of like all these people that we've been getting to know, you don't really get that payoff of their reactions, what they think, who they believe, who they are siding with, you know, kind of like that drama that I felt like could have really kind of amplified things and kept it outside of the scope of our main characters, so that it could have, you know, add a little bit more interest there.
I just had another question come up, but you keep going.
What's the question?
If Oro knew this, if he knew that a Nightshade, Wilding, and Sunling made the island and that they had to be the key players, why didn't he try to use a Wilding before?
Well, and also, why do you need all the rulers?
Yeah.
Why not just have the 3 if the 3 are the only ones who are essential?
I mean, the prophecy says 6, but they did it with 3. So was it that all 6 of them were on the island?
Or was it that it was just the 6 abilities? Because 6 abilities were in the room, you know, like in blood and things.
Yeah, but why did Oro have them at all? We don't know.
I really actually don't know on that one why he had all. Because also too, a running question throughout the whole book was who created the curses. Like, that was kind of threaded throughout. And I was like, well, it would make sense.
Sorry, I just remembered another thing.
You go.
You keep going.
You go. I'll
no,
remember.
You keep going.
You go.
You keep going. You keep
I'll
going.
remember.
I got it. I got it in here. You go.
Also, I don't know why my voice is a little raspy.
It's because you ate that sandwich.
It's because I ate a sandwich.
I'm so sorry. You go.
No. Is that? Oh, I forgot it. Wait. What were we talking about? What was that? Wait.
Oh, the person who made the curses.
Oh, yes, the person who made the curses. So I was thinking, I was like, in terms of motivation, the person who would make the curses is the one who would stay most in power because of them. So it actually makes sense for the person to have made them to be Oro. because he's the one with all the abilities, and he's like the main focal point of the islands. Everything revolves around him and his kingdom. So then I thought that was where the story was going to go, was that he was going to have been the one who made the curses, because again, in my mind, I was like, oh, I could see that. Like, I could understand that. But then, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I knew from the beginning Celeste was the bad guy. I was like, it's the only person she can trust. I was like, no, Celeste, every time Isla told her something, I was like, she's the bad guy, don't tell her anything. It was then that, in finding out that she was the one, Celeste was the one who created the curses, there was so much that had to be unpacked in that scene.
So much information was given all at once.
That then it didn't have the impact. It's kind of like when the villain in the movie monologues, and it's like, you want to know why I did all this? Here's my backstory and this and that. And I'm like, I would have loved, I think, more if we had pieces of that romance story, their histories, these people, these players involved in the past, threaded throughout the story, so that then it doesn't have to be explained to me all at once in a huge chunk, in a huge chapter at the end. Because then I feel like that not only hurts the pacing, but then my mind can't catch up with it. I don't even get the brunt of the surprise because I'm like scrambling to catch up.
Yep.
And so I think that was another tricky point for me, was that information was either kind of withheld or sporadically given. Like, all of a sudden, Isla's like, oh, I can lockpick this because I was taught how to do this by my guardians, you know, so long ago, and all these things. Like, anything that...
It wasn't even her guardians.
With the... Oh, yeah. It was thieves.
Yeah, she just saw someone do it one time, and now she can do it.
You can't do that? I can't. I'm not like other girls.
You're not.
But stuff like that, too, where it's like, I had no idea what was the scope of her background, and so everything was a surprise, and it had to be explained in that moment because it didn't have a foundation behind it. Even with her guardians, she loves them so much. We only get one scene with them, and they're actually really nice and loving in that scene. So then to hear that she's had this whole backstory of being brutally trained was super... I was like, wait, what? Because they were super loving. Like, we had no impression whatsoever that, like, they had given you such a hardened childhood to try to survive these challenges. So I think the whole point of what I'm saying here, I'm going a lot of different directions, is that the information just wasn't quite building up on itself. And I think there could have been things done to the competition, to the love story and things to really help amplify it and to help give it that little grit. I did want to learn more about the other rulers because they were such big parts, but we didn't really get much more insight on them. Now, that isn't to say there weren't scenes with them. There were, because there was one with Azul where he takes her to the instrument and they sing and stuff. But I wanted more of that. I wanted to see them. I wanted to see the rulers as people. I wanted more humanizing moments. I wanted more peeks into their motivations and such, because then that would actually make me question, well, who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? And Isla really kept pinning things on Cleo. But I'm like, but everyone's literally said over and over again that Cleo does things for the best of her kingdom. It's actually not personal. She might hate you, but she's not going to kill you because of that. She's actually trying to make the best decision for her people. And so it was kind of weird that I think Cleo was supposed to be the red herring, the distraction from Celeste. But it was just confusing because we didn't really know Cleo at all. Whereas if we had more instances that were, you know, subtle and there was context and context clues and things that could have made it really seem like Cleo actually was doing this, well, then you would be like, oh my gosh, you know, she is trying to kill her and she is doing all these things and she's going to take over the kingdom and things like that. So it's like, it was there, but I just think the pieces just weren't interconnecting with each other. But I am curious to know your thoughts on the love triangle. And on the two bros that we got here. We got dark bro and we got light bro.
It's true. Sorry, just one more thing. I hated that Isla based all of her decisions based on conjecture, not evidence.
That's true. It was on her own assumptions purely. And even the people that she was trusting at those times in the story, they were like, no, I don't think it would be that person. She was like, no, but it is. But I'm like, but there has...
you're baseless.
You have to have a little bit more.
Yeah, you're basing this off of literally just an assumption. You have zero evidence.
Or then like go find the evidence.
Yes.
And then go see if you were right or wrong, or see like if you did find evidence, maybe it was placed there. You know, something again just to add a little bit more to that aspect as well.
That really made me mad. I was like, she's like, it's Cleo. Based on one conversation you overheard about her creating an army and doing, Cleo created. No, shut up.
Or then she was like, Cleo wants to kill me. I'm like, well, you said the one commenter at dinner, but I was like, she's actually been pretty level-headed. And she's literally told you, like, because Isla was like, you created the curses, you did this, and Cleo was like, look, you're wrong, but I'm just going to leave you here.
Oh my gosh, that made me so mad.
And sorry, every time I hear Cleo, you saw H2O growing up, right?
I did not. I've just heard it from
Cleo. I don't.
Cleo.
Anyways, if you know, you know.
You know. But to the love triangle. I liked certain moments.
Ooh.
The ending was kind of not my thing. But a moment that I was like, oh. was when she kills Aurora / Celeste. And the earth splits open and they're like falling. But she's saved by something, and she's like, what? Wild thing power? And then she remembers, oh, if you fall in love with someone, you get access to their power. And then she's like, but which one of them was it? Because both Grimm and Oro were there. Oh, sorry. Oro were there. And they're all tied up, and she realizes it was Oro. And then she goes, oh, but I would have had to love him to do that. And then she realizes, she looks at Grimm, and realizes that he tried to, but he was unable to. Meaning her heart changed. And I like those little things, like where you're not just outrightly telling me. I mean, she did kind of say it. She doubled down. But I liked the show of like she does kind of take betrayal seriously. Kind of is a very big thing there. But that it shows in those actions of like Aura being able to save her and Grimm not being able to.
Throughout, I mean, I guess I kind of already know the answer, but who are you rooting for?
It's Aura. Grimm was so freaking creepy. Like, you can't just go up to someone and just be like,
That was exactly how he flirted.
Okay, you know what? He gave me Severus Snape vibes if Severus Snape was hot.
Ooh.
But like kind of in a bad way.
Oh.
The connection was just way too quick for me as the reader. If you had more foreshadowing, like I don't, with her dreams and everything, like I didn't know, like, is he planting those in her mind? If he is, again, creepy. And honestly, I actually liked her relationship with Oro a lot more. Because it was built up.
Yeah, there was good build up.
Because they kind of hated each other at first, right? And they're just kind of reluctantly working together.
Reluctant allies to lovers.
Yes.
Maybe.
But we see that, and we see like how he bites back and she bites back, and like it's a gradual kind of softening. And it's at the end she doesn't even realize, like, oh, I do love him, right? And how I kind of liked the whole thing of he thought that it's just like the wilding curse, you know, that he's just like being bewitched by her, but then he finds out that she doesn't have any powers, and he's like, my heart's been opened, kind of a thing.
That was cute.
I did like. I will admit, I was like, oh, that was pretty good. So there are certain aspects of the romance that I enjoyed, but overall,
I think with Grimm, when we first met him, I was like, I think they've had something before. Or I was like, I wonder if his curse was something with love, and like she was his destined or something, and then like that was the vibes I was getting. So I was like, there's some sort of history there. But it was a super fast romance. Now obviously there is historical context at the end where you figure out that they have been in love before, but he wiped her memories, which I was like,
weirdo.
Would I forgive someone if they wiped my memories? Because they couldn't trust me to make a decision?
That's also like a super invasion of privacy.
I mean, literally the ultimate. And so, I mean, I did like, though, like, the tantalization that he kind of offered the story in terms of, like, how someone could potentially try to get through your defenses by, you know, being flirty or helpful or showing up in unexpected moments.
Yes, I did see that. There needed to be more build up to it because it came off as creepy to me. But with more build up, I could see that happening.
Yes. Where, yeah, I felt like that could have, you know, and I felt like it did have the seeds there. Like, I was kind of like, ooh, can't you judge
which
it?
Which moment?
Oh, the moment that I was talking about in the recommendation that took me off guard that I wasn't expecting? Yeah. Here it is. You know how Grimm gave her the necklace and he was like, if ever you need me, touch this and I'll immediately be there. Doesn't matter when or when.
I didn't know how she could trust that, but yeah.
I think I just said when or when. And so when she touched it for the first time and he ran into the room and he was like, are you okay? You okay? I was like, oh, that was cute. Like, it took me so off guard. I was not expecting that. I was like, oh my goodness, he liked her. I don't know. It literally made me blush. I was like, oh, it took me off guard. I don't know why.
No, I see why.
I was like, he came for her. I don't know. I think I like that trope, honestly, ever since Kiss of Deception.
No, I get that, where it's like, oh, like this third party thing is signaling to me that she needs help when she doesn't actually, and so he comes in all like afraid for her and afraid what he's gonna find. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. You always sum it up so well. But I did really like her relationship with Oro. Like you said, it had the build up. They were being more vulnerable with each other. They were asking each other questions. They were discovering things about the other person almost kind of unwittingly because they didn't trust the other person. And I liked that she had kind of teased him beforehand by like selecting him to be a part of her her demonstration at the dinner where she had a fake powers and distracted with the crown instead and things like that. Like, I liked that they were having these connecting moments first in kind of bitterness and to play the game, but then it did turn into something reliable and something more. And it's like they were leaning on each other in ways they didn't even realize. But then it's hard because I know she's not going to end up with him.
Oh my God. Well, that's the thing though. I don't know if she's going to end up with Grimm.
I am pretty dang convinced she's not going to end up with Oro.
Because he's blonde.
Well, that honestly is a factor. I could probably list 3 reasons why she's not.
Okay.
I'd be, not to be cocky, I'm like 95% sure she doesn't end up with Oro, which is a shame because I like Oro.
I really do.
They had a good relationship. And then the end, what? Oh, no,
you go. In
the end, when Celeste, aka her evil alternate self, was like, you didn't mean to fall in love, did you?
Oh.
Like, teasing him with like the love he unwittingly felt, but he came for her too. Oh, I must have something with that trope, honestly. I do think you do. No, it was the fact that it was something he wasn't prepared for, but then he did fall in love with her, and then he's kind of being tormented with that love, and that love was a weakness, and everything he thought about love was right. It was good. I liked that scene. But these are the 3 reasons why they will not end up together. 1, Grimm was introduced first.
Oh, and we do have a thing for second male lead.
I know we do. Oh. And there's a rule on The Bachelor or Bachelorette, whatever it is. It's whoever gets the first rose, the first impression rose. I think it's for The Bachelorette. Whichever guy gets the first impression rose, most of the time is the guy she ends up with.
Okay, yeah.
So if we're using that logic,
yeah,
Grimm is going to be the one she ends up with.
I guess.
I forgot my 2 other reasons.
No, I'm sorry.
Why am I'm struggling tonight, folks?
Because I keep interrupting you with my my rage
moment. No. What was the second moment? Oh, I mean, her and Grimm have a history.
Oh, that's true.
And I feel like in the second book, it's going to primarily focus on Grimm getting her affections back.
Because it's called Nightshade.
And then Oro will do something that's going to push her so far away that she ends up with Grimm.
You would think that that's wiping her memories.
question, what could be worse than that?
You know what? I do see it because even in the story, she's more physically attracted to Grimm.
That was the third reason. She only had physicality with Grimm.
Which is such a shame.
I mean, Oro, he's hot, literally.
Like a part of me was like, Grimm is literally cold to the touch.
Yeah.
I would hate that so much.
Oh my gosh, I'd be like, please get my Snuggie now.
But like Oro's literally golden and warm, and he's built. We already know that. She saw him shirtless.
And then they kind of teased each other, and he could also sense when she was lying, and that was kind of fun.
And he healed her like with his hand splayed on her stomach.
Yeah, and I was like,
that was more intimate than like anything that Grimm and Isla did.
And that's the thing is that exactly I felt more in that scene than anything with her and Grimm.
Yep. Oh, but you're right. No, I see your reasoning now.
They're not going to end up together
because he's the tall, dark, and handsome.
He's the tall, dark, and handsome. He's the shadow guy.
That's disappointing.
I mean, I'm taking this as an absolute, and it's just my own opinion. I haven't read the rest of the series.
True.
But they will not end up together. Which is a shame. He might actually even have to die.
He's the best one out of all of them.
That's the thing, too, is that it may even be something where she's like, no, I can't. We did get a pop in our microphone. It may be a thing where maybe in like a third book, she still loves them both and her heart can't choose, but then Oro will die.
It's not to you. That's the story.
Yeah. But
I want that to happen. He's the best one. You know, everyone else should die, and Oro should just like win everything.
I am afraid though. I'm 80% sure Oro will die, or will.
Oh whoa. Can I tell you one more thing that annoyed me?
Always.
What are flares?
Oh yeah, I was wondering that because it kind of came up,
and it seemed kind of
one
potent. Time.
Yeah.
Here's the thing in this story: the things that didn't need explanations over and over again kept getting explained, and the things that needed explanation were explained once, and that was kind of like a one-off and never mentioned ever again. Flares was one of those things, and it was explained once, but I was like what you said, scrambling so much to play catch up that I kind of forgot, and I was like, wait, why is this important? And like in my head, I was like, that's just so, like overpowering you, like overpowering the rulers, like. So in theory, Grimm has control over minds, over shadows, over mirrors, over her emotions,
dreams,
over
no, literally though,
over quick transportation, over all these things, right? Oro also has 4 of the big
Notice
ones.
though that he's not as powerful, so that's another reason they want to end up together. Sorry, continue though.
But
I'm building a case. I want everyone to tell me if I'm right or wrong, okay?
But he also has his flare, and then like Aurora had her flare, and I was like, so do all rulers have flares? Like, what's Azul's?
Wait,
what's Cleo's?
What's Aurora's flare?
It was they mentioned it. Wait.
Shape-shifting. Oh, but okay. Sorry, continue. I won't.
No, you go.
Well. How do the flares fit within the scope of the land's power?
Oh my gosh, that was my next thing. I didn't understand. I was like, no. You have this whole thing that you just built up on like how powers do this. And that was actually a part I really liked. I was like, I love how they have powers, but they have the curses and how like that would...
Creative curses too.
That would have been such an interesting thing to see between like each one. Like we never see the other realms interact with each other. And I was like, why not? That would have been so interesting. Oh, what a missed opportunity. Where was I going? Oh yes, but like how did flares fit into that? Like with Oro being able to tell if people lie, I was like, what in your fire warmth thing connects to that?
Because it's not cool of you to lie.
With Grimm, is it like shadow travel? Is it like a Nico D'Angelo thing? Like with Aurora's...
I thought his flare was the emotions.
No, his flare is his transportation.
Wait. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Mixed them up.
Except But that's the thing. They're so confusing. And it's like, what's a power? What's a flare? What's the difference? Why doesn't everyone have one?
That was kind of a song right there. So were flares in a way kind of described as kind of almost like what would be a genetic anomaly as a power though instead?
I think it was something about with the line of succession of like when the 6 original rulers died, their powers was left to their heirs, and the heirs got like a certain flare. If I remember, that could be completely wrong.
Okay, but they can come up every once in a while. It's like a genetic trait that skips some generations.
Well, we don't really know that because those heirs have been alive for 500 years. But again, I could be wrong about that definition. I'm not even like 70% sure on that one because I'm so confused. But yes, that also confused. I was like, you guys have this much power, and yet you can't like crack open a book.
And that's knowledge is power.
You literally have these libraries like full of books and things, and none of those have any clue about how you can break this prophecy. It's taken 500 years of people who are immortal, who have all of this access to all of this information, to all of these relics, to break a...
But also, if you and your society is majorly powerful, why do you need powerful relics? And who creates them? And how do they work?
Also, so am I to understand that the people of the different realms, they have powers? Yes, they have powers associated with that.
Yes.
What makes heirs different? Is it just the flares? Like, why are they more powerful?
I think their abilities are just more insurmountable.
Because, I mean, there was the whole thing, too, of, like, rulers, like, giving power to their lands to make them thrive. And I was like, okay, does that have something to do with it? But it was like, kind of yes, kind of no. Again, in the line of succession, how does that happen?
I thought that was kind of only Oro's thing because it was him and Lightlark itself. But why was her land dying at the end?
That was her thing. That rulers, they need to have power and they need to be...
Oh, to sustain the abundance and the... Yes. Okay.
Again, confusing.
Well, I think if it could have just been clarified in one point, my mind could remember it.
Yeah.
And it kind of directly told to me, though. Yeah. Or be like, hey, there's 6 islands. Hey, each island has a different affinity. Hey, each affinity has certain complexities. The rulers, like the build-up. The rulers, because they're the most powerful in the power hierarchy, have flares. Flares derive from, I think if I just kind of had a funnel, then I could remember all of it.
Yep. I also, if you have an idea of where the heart is of the island, sorry, why are you searching every single forest instead of, I don't know, cracking open a book?
Well, and that's the thing, too, is that, one, why does the competition have to happen once every 100 years? Wouldn't it be prudent for the research to kind of be nonstop? And then, 2, again, why not involve all 6 rulers? Like, hey, and Oro did address all the rulers and say that he thought the heart was kind of the keystone to all of this.
Yeah, once his island was falling.
Yeah, but like, why not get all of them involved and have them all use their powers and resources? Yeah. Now, I understand being hesitant that a ruler would try to seek and claim the power for themselves.
But after one failed centennial, you would think that they would come together and be like, how are we going to solve this? Because all of them had to be there, supposedly.
Because what's worse, that risk or like people perpetually suffering for thousands of years?
Weird. Those are, I think, all my thoughts, though.
We passioned it out.
That was a lot. Thank you so much for joining us on Kiwi and the Bird. Let us know in Spotify's comment section or on social media what you think about Lightlark by Alex Aster. Please let us know how it ends.
Please let us know who she ends up with.
That's all we care about.
Because I either need the validation that I was right, or I just don't need to know. Just kidding. But I actually do tell Keimi with that. She tells me about certain celebrities, and I say, Keimi, if they ever date someone, don't tell me. Just lie. If I ask him, like, hey, is that celebrity dating someone? Don't tell me the truth. Just lie to me. Speaking of social media, be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and more at Keimi the Bird. And if you have any questions about the show, feel free to forward them to Keimi the Bird podcast at gmail.com.
If you ask me why I hate things so much, don't send that question.
It's just passion.
It's just passion. I'm not boring. Feel free to check out our other episodes in the meantime. And remember,
like a library, at Kiwi the Bird, happens.